And also to folks, we get all these phone calls from people wanting to have this, as I said before, farm connection. They want to come and visit, they want to harvest their own vegetables, they want to know that they're sustainably grown without pesticides or herbicides or synthesized fertilizers. So there is this explosion. And we have folks coming from the tri-state region. We have a lot of apple orchards in Westchester County. And you have to go far north up into Dutchess for berry picking. There's not a lot of berries in this general area. So we'll get up, if I had a dime for every phone call for can I come pick berries, I would have my operating budget probably funded. So we were thinking about that. We have a small farm, it's 5.5 acres, we have 2 greenhouses. This is the first year we're actually growing during the winter, and we've been supplying restaurants with some of that food, and we actually give about 20% of our produce to food pantries and soup kitchens, sort of a give back to the community. But the gap is, people tend to think, and rightfully so, that they got to go up to Dutchess to start hitting farms, and they skip over Westchester and Putnam.
Sherry, you represent a farm as well. Can you add to that and comment on the industry from your perspective up north?
I am really excited about the culinary aspects of the Dublin Farms. We do have a 6.5 acre chef's garden out front, and for 2012 we did not get open to visitors. So 100% of the produce did go straight to restaurants, and they were sort of clamoring to get some rare varieties that were grown that were more European varieties, French and Italian. And we also have a cafe on site. It started out as a concept through need because there isn't a whole lot of other, there are not many sites or many spots to stop in our area of Dutchess County, the eastern portion of the county. And so this allows visitors to experience the produce and another way to educate them about agriculture right on site. We are lucky enough to have a Culinary Institute of America chef, and he changes the menu every weekend. And part of that is to help inspire guests to take the experience home so that wherever they are originally from, they will continue to look for other experiences that are similar in their own area, whether that be Westchester or the city. And we're very pleased that so many visitors are coming up from the city. We provide a shuttle, so we encourage them to hop on Metro North and take public transportation. And the whole culinary aspect and partnering with other local farms for meats, cheeses, and other items that we use either in the cafe or as part of our tasting has been a really rewarding way to begin to establish relationships within the Mid-Hudson region.
That's great. Sherry, we were speaking before the event, and one of the topics that came up in Lou's comment about people sometimes skipping over Westchester County to go farther north for certain farm attractions. We were discussing sort of the boundaries that we put up in our own minds for regions. And I work for Westchester County, so for me it's like, my world ends in Peekskill. But, obviously consumers and tourists don't think that way. They think regionally, throughout the state. Basically anything north of New York City is upstate, right? So I thought maybe we could just discuss that in terms of attracting tourists to our region and how we're working together as a region, as an upstate region, to brand Hudson Valley. And maybe what more can we do? And is it a fragmented strategy, or are you seeing now the regions, Westchester's, Dutchess's, really working together to attract people to our area so we can all benefit? Big question. I don't know.
Scott, if I want to add,
Of course.
Westchester works we are part of the Hudson Valley Tourism, which is a cooperative destination marketing organization comprised of Westchester straight up to Albany. So we work very closely with the Mid-Hudson region as well and developing. I just want to say that we are part of Hudson Valley Tourism, which is a 10-county destination marketing organization, and we work together really in developing Hudson Valley itineraries, both agriculture and other, to promote that outside of our area, as well as to the international travel. Tourism is really, to your point, Scott, it's about the region. So the strength in our Hudson, as part of the Hudson Valley, is something that we do promote. I also wanted to say that National Geo Traveler has named the Hudson Valley as one of the top 20 most desired destinations for the year. So there is interest for the region and all of our experiences here.
Thank you for
And
that.
I think there were only, Natasha, what, 2 or 3 destinations in the U.S. that were named by National Geographic as top 20 destinations, and Hudson Valley was one of them. Hudson Valley Tourism is also really stepping up its fantastic efforts this spring. It will begin to enhance the Hudson Valley Work Group, which is a committee of working tourism professionals all over all of those counties. And with the strength in numbers that we have from that group, it really helps. I feel personally, in my 1 year in New York, really helps to facilitate an extremely positive dialogue with Albany and an understanding of the huge economic generator that tourism plays. I don't know if anyone saw or I'm sure you all did, the jobs report that came out, the unemployment jobs report from last week. And it cited tourism as the #2 economic generator in the U.S. right now for job creation. Again, there's a question.
Okay, we're going to take questions at the end, but if you'd like to ask a question, that's fine. Go ahead.
I'm patient.
Okay, I'll remember. Thank you. That's an interesting perspective. You know, you mentioned international travelers in the Hudson Valley brand. My wife is from Germany, and we have lots of friends that come over, and they ask us, "Do you live in the Hudson Valley?" Because they've heard of the Hudson Valley. They know the Hudson Valley, which is great. And then I always like to, throw back statistics at them about how New York is, the 3rd largest wine producer in the United States, and we do so much more than New York City. So it's a fantastic region, as you said. So I want to go back to food a little bit, and from a restaurant's perspective, Westchester and the Hudson Valley are also it's a major culinary destination. And Dave, you are in Tarrytown, one of your restaurants. And I just thought you could talk a little bit about, and I think it's interesting you're sitting next to it. I think one of the farms you use for your fruits and vegetables, or vegetables mainly, is Hilltop Hanover. It's nice we sat next to each other. If you could just talk a little bit about what drove you to use local ingredients and maybe some of the other things your restaurant is doing to be green.
Sure. It's an interesting question because what motivated me to go local back in 2004 was not so much to do with the environment. I was clearly concerned about issues about food, pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, animal cruelty, things of that sort. I was concerned about, again, what kind of world we were going to leave our children. But when I thought about going local, it was more about celebrating the Hudson Valley. I had just moved up here in 2000 and from Manhattan, and just awestruck by the area. It's just so really beautiful, and people were asking me, what kind of Mexican restaurant is this going to be? Is this going to be Tex-Mex, Cal-Mex? And I was kind of offended by that question. I was like, no, this is going to celebrate the Hudson Valley. This is going to be Mex-Chester. So it wasn't. They were sort of two separate ideas. Going local and being environmentally friendly were two separate things, and it didn't come until later that I had a conversation with one farmer from Stone Barns. And I kept, asking about, what do you do here? What are your farming practices here? Are they organic? Or any of this? I said, Dave, don't worry about organic. Don't worry about that. What you have to worry about is being local. And then they came together. The two started holding hands, and that became sort of a joint mission. In addition to sourcing locally. I do my best, but it's a very difficult industry to really tackle, and I'm not even sure where I am on that scorecard. But there were fluorescent lights that we replaced, and they didn't really work with the dimmers. They didn't have very nice flattering light on our customers, so some of them are out, so I don't have that. I have toilets that don't always, work properly. We don't have water savers. There's little things like that add up, and, that we could do a lot better at. We do the things that we can do. We have environmentally friendly packaging. Anywhere we can do what we can do, we will do it, and we continue to try.
We always say it's a journey we're all on, and I think a lot of small businesses in this room can really relate to you because there's no perfect case, and we're all just basically trying to move forward in this process. Did you talk to the guys at Captain Lawrence, because I know they have fresh Chester and now you have mixed Chester, so I wonder if there's something.
I think I was first.
I think you were first. I was wondering if that's where they got it from. I think you should get some royalties because it's a good beer. Walter, did you want to add something?
Yeah, the other thing has dawned on me about, some of the great work and local attractions and businesses in the area that have a green orientation, even though it's not overtly that way, would be the food bank. And, we're involved in the annual food bank event. And, how many of you went to the food bank event this year? It's just a tremendous, not that many of you raised your hand. So I urge you next year.